If Clark Kent believed in you, it was like a superhero believing in you. Literally, like everything could be going wrong. If that guy believed in you, you felt like you could run through a wall, and he would tell you over and over. What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneaker Show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, my two friends. First off to my right, Mr. Matt Welty.
I had the urge this second to do the throwback. I'm Matt Welty. But
wrong show. But it's okay. We're getting the rust off. It's been a while.
Yeah.
To my left,
we're here.
He completed the New York City Marathon. Record time, check.
Record time for me,
well,
not
okay.
any. Like,
check the stats.
PR, a personal best.
Personal best, PR.
Yep.
Team Baklava, captain. Not sure if
captain?
That's... So add a little sauce on it. Mr. Brendan Dunne.
Hey, what's happening?
How you doing?
The best time within the group?
No, I don't think so. There were some real rippers in there. This dude, Ty, he put in a around 3-hour marathon. Buddy, who's on the team as well, he had like a 3:01, 3:02 or something. I was my goal was 3:30, and I put in a 3:29:52. But we could talk about that more in depth later. Thank you, Welty.
Yes, we haven't been on the last episode 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Wu-Tang, RZA.
A favorite of mine.
Yes, talked about the Wu-Tang dunk. Got great reception for that one. A lot of stuff to catch up on. And, of course, the first thing we want to talk about is the tragic, devastating loss of a friend of Complex. I won't even say Complex Sneaker Show, even though he is a friend of ours, of course, and he's been on Full Size Run, and he's been on Sneaker Shopping. He was actually the first video guest that we had when we launched the Complex Sneaker Show, our beloved DJ Clark Kent, who passed a couple weeks ago from cancer, and a tremendous loss for the sneaker community. And not only the sneaker community, literally he touched so many parts of pop culture, obviously music and his accolades, and just someone who, when I was coming into this industry, you only heard about him. And when you met him and you saw how graceful he was with his time, the thing about DJ Clark Kent was he left nothing on the table with his interactions. Nothing.
Do you remember when you first met him?
I'm bad with years, but I do remember some specific sneaker friends in Atlanta. Shouts to DJ Greg Street. That was an early time that I got to spend like a weekend with him. And to be honest, I thought about this. The Nice Kick store opening in 2010. I was, 3 or 4 years really into my career, and on Guadalupe Street, Nice Kicks, I spent so much time with him that weekend. I remember just sitting next to this guy and all sneaker fans coming up to him, and I was next to him, and we got to spend so much time together that weekend. And I felt like, as a kid who didn't come up in the industry and just heard about him, and was kind of 2010, I was like it was like the Cuddy era, and I was like making some moves, but I just remember like a pinch me moment being like, I'm next to DJ Clark Kent. I've been spending the whole weekend with him. Everyone's coming up to him and talking about sneakers. And I remember just being like, he discovered Jay-Z. It was all sneaker fans. And like, it just made me feel so cool to be in his presence. And that was, at this point, 14 years ago. And then over the years, I think sometimes people look at us and like think that you can't tell a bad day because we are so, we're so lucky that we get to do this, this stuff that we love. But when you had a bad day and you needed a pep talk, Clark Kent is someone who I reached out to and always gave me confidence. And you see all the people writing these messages on Instagram. And I think the thing that sticks out is that he believed in me. And if he
really loved you,
if he believed, but people saying that, but if Clark Kent believed in you, it was like a superhero believing in you. Literally, like everything could be going wrong. If that guy believed in you, you felt like you could run through a wall, and he would tell you over and over. Just and I know that he was sick, and even just like still when he was sick, constantly saying he was proud of me. I just love him. We will miss him so dearly. It's going to be a void.
No, it's a beautiful bond, and I know what you mean about so many people sharing those messages. And I thought so much about you in this time too, Joe, because we all know Clark well, and we've all interviewed him a million times and talked to him so much. But I loved seeing that bond between you two, and just knowing again how much he believed in you and how much he was always there to support you. And he's somebody who, again, I said it. We've talked to him so many times, and I'm so proud that we're on record as supporting him throughout everything and looking at him as a voice. You know, so much of the work we do is uncovering this dusty history from decades past about how sneakers became popular or how sneaker culture really grew up, and like that's important work to do. And Clark is one of those people who was there firsthand and seeing it. I thought immediately of the loss of Dallas Penn, another person who passed tragically this year, and another person who was there firsthand, living this stuff, first person in New York City as this hobby was becoming a culture. I mean, Welty, you and I had the conversation about Clark kind of in his way rejecting the word sneaker culture or the phrase sneaker culture and embracing sneaker community instead. But just one of those people who lived it. And I'm just talking here about sneakers. I can sense your emphasis, Joe, of calling him DJ Clark Kent. And I remember, I actually don't remember the exact moment or what the context was, but somebody referencing him as Clark Kent or mentioning him as Clark Kent. And I think his response was DJ Clark Kent. I'm a DJ, because it's so easy to think about how he helped mainstream sneaker collecting, this hobby of being super into shoes. And that's one contribution that's huge, this pillar. But then all this other stuff of he discovered Jay-Z, or Welty, you were helping me out when I was writing about Clark immediately after his passing and being like, remember, he introduced Jay-Z to Biggie. Remember, he put Foxy Brown, his cousin, on.
Yeah, the actual cousin. Yeah.
All these contributions. He produced the biggest songs for Junior Mafia. Just everything that he's done, it's just so huge.
Yeah, it's funny. I look back at it, and I remember the first time I met Clark. I wouldn't say we like got off on like the wrong foot, but I remember it was like my first like month of working at Complex full time, and I had got invited to the infamous New York Knicks event where the jump shot photo come from. I think it was that one, or it might be wrong, but it was one of those like Foot Locker sponsored like.
That's where the meme of you came from, of you shooting the shot,
possibly. But it was in the garden, right? We got to play, and then after they had us there for a focus group. And at the time, I was kind of saying, "Hey, I think sneaker culture should be like." This is like 2013 era sneaker culture, so you remember all like the memes on Instagram and whatnot. I'm like, I think sneaker culture should be like more grown up and wear good clothes and wear cool shoes with it. And I was like, I don't think we should be matching cement print G-Shocks to our sneakers. And Clark's like, bro, if that's what the kids like, then we should support it. And then like me and him, like, I remember we like butted heads on that, not in like a super negative way, but just kind of like we didn't see eye to eye on it. But then I remember we hadn't really talked much. And then he came to the office once when Joe had brought him there, and we had just launched Full Size Run originally, and that was that time I had gone to New Balance and I had done the shoes. And then Clark had done a million shoes. And he's like coming over. He's like, do you have anything good at your desk? You know, like kind of like, not like teasing me, but like he has way better shoes than all of us. So, and I was like,
I make shoes. I'm different.
Yeah. And I showed him, and I remember showing him the shoes that I made, and he goes, oh, wow, you made these? And I go, yeah. And he goes, no, these are actually really good. And when he said that, he's like, no, you really did a good job on these shoes. And then when he said it, I was like, oh, I got a DJ Clark Kent moment of validation. And it kind of like.
It meant the most. It still means the most. And he was just so selfless he was the person in the room with the most accolades, the most extensive resume. And he made you feel like you were the star. And I'm not talking just about me. So many people in the past few weeks who used to work at Complex hit me up and were just like, every time he came to the office, he was such a pleasure and such someone that we looked forward to. And some of these people met him once or twice. I remember Quick Strike, Jonathan Lee's our old director, someone who basically was like the director of all shows for the early iteration of Complex. He the Sneaker Shop, everything that you saw.
Complex TV era.
Complex TV, and he was the director of Quick Strike. The way that DJ Clark Kent loved Jonathan Lee's, he was such a friend to this brand, And like I said, every interaction lasted with you up until he passed. The Hall of Fame, he must have been sick. The Bayshore Hall of Fame. I looked through my old messages and he was like, I'm so proud of you. And that was recent. That was when he was going through things.
Yeah.
He always
still had time
for everyone. He loved you guys. We used to call him and he would show up. He was so busy. He would show up for us all the time.
Yes, let's not forget about that.
On a whim.
This is kind of behind the scenes, but this thing happens where you're booking guests for shows and sometimes things don't pan out. And in those moments you're like, who can we talk to? It's a short window. Who's somebody who would be interesting to talk to? And Clark was always that person. It's a great point you bring up, Joe, of like always making the time for us and always relevant and always having something to say, and always it's a person who you always want their input on what's happening in sneakers at that particular moment, because they help build this thing. They help make this thing mainstream. I think it was maybe the last time we had him on here, or the last time we had him on Full Size Run, but just him. And again, this is about like him being right there, being such a part of the trajectory from sneaker collecting being niche to pop culture, of him telling stories of in the 80s when he was first hoarding shoes, bringing someone over to his house and her thinking it was weird that you had a bunch of sneakers. He saw firsthand, he participated in that firsthand, and that was such an asset to be around in a way of like, this person saw everything.
Yeah, I think that was the first audio podcast we did with him. I think I remember talking to him about it. And it's funny because I remember when we did the first Full Size Run with him, and when that was like very early on in Full Size Run, and obviously there's the clip that we used a million times. I make shoes, I'm different. And I remember when he came on Full Size Run, I think for the second time, and he goes, dude, you guys don't realize that like that one clip, how many kids come into my DMs now and just keep on saying that to me. With every time I post a story, they just say, I'm different.
Well, the truth is he was different. He was, there was no one like him. There will never be anyone like him. We just thank you so much for just being a friend and family member to this company. Our thoughts are with his family. Our thoughts are with the close knit friends.
Oh man, Abdul, we love you. Magdi, we love you.
All these OGs that we came up on in the industry. As much as it's affecting us, we know it's affecting you guys. And
strength and love to all those people, because we know they're hurting right now.
Absolutely. And you know, it's small detail, but the ComplexCon Sneaker of the Year panel will never be the same. I remember just getting out of the elevator of the Hyatt lobby in Long Beach, and sometimes I would catch him when he was checking in, and it was just, again, interaction where like it was the first time I was meeting a superhero. That's how I felt every single time I came in contact with him. And I speak for us, and I speak for the Complex family, past and present. We love you. We will miss you, and there will never be another DJ Clark Kent.
For sure.
Absolutely. Rest in peace.
One of the just last thing, this like, I don't know why this moment always sticks in my head, is like one of my favorite DJ Clark Kent moments. And Joe starts pulling the curtain back a little bit. I remember when you had done the baby sneaker shopping episode, and he was like talking about getting Jordans from the Sneaker Man, and I'm like, Joe, you know he's talking about fake shoes, and you're like, how do you know they're fake? They could have been exclusives. And the second like literally 5 minutes after the episode dropped, like, he got a phone call from Clark Kent, and he goes, Joe, you know those shits were fake that he was talking about on the episode. And I was like, yes, Clark.
Vindication.
Yep. So I remember that. I think I was even great. I was like, hey, listen, you were right. So
many moments.
Yes. All right. It's been a few weeks. A lot of stuff to catch up on. Where are we going first?
Okay. I want to know if we're at ASICS Kayano gel, blah, 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 mesh runner saturation. I want to talk about the new Wales Bond or Adidas. I'm big on those.
Ran into MJ.
Very
What's
casual.
the story behind that? We got to get to
Matt Welty and Michael Jordan, two icons.
Yeah. Then we're going to talk, I was looking through my closet. There's some stuff in there that maybe didn't age well. I was doing a little inventory. We're going to get to all that and more.
Big ComplexCon news.
Yep. ComplexCon, huge ComplexCon news. It's getting a little crowded on that panel, maybe. We'll see.
What do we have on feet?
Welty, I'll say it right now. I was influenced by you.
Thanks.
I'm always happy to be transparent about that when it happens. This is the DM Grappa Hiker. I
Those
hope
are
I'm
nice,
pronouncing
man.
that correctly. Italian-made footwear, Joe. So I hope I made you proud as well.
Absolutely.
I love these. I have no shame in saying that Welty influenced me. Welty, what was that list? You put together a list for the website a few weeks back?
Of like best like outdoor shoes because like fall was coming up and I just wanted to grab one shoe from a different brand. I think we ended up doing like 15 different brands or something like that. And I was like, at the end, I was getting a little obscure, but I still just wanted it to be cool. And there were a pair of shoes that I liked. So.
Yeah, I'm super hyped on these. And I think I'm drifting a little bit more toward less branded, not a shoe with a big Nike swoosh on the side as we come out of this Dunk Air Force One, Air Jordan 1 super saturation era. So, you know, no logo on these. I'm into that. Yeah, there was. What was the other DM shoe you had put on the list? You didn't put this one on the list, but
it was a brown shoe,
Movida in tomato suede, and it was just so perfectly ugly
with a pink toe cap.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted those, but I went for these. Although you might also be mad at me that I don't know if I quite got the sizing correct. Welty's always keeping me as honest as possible when it comes to
those were
sneaker
tough
sizing.
because they were in European sizes.
I feel like I got to go to Italy to make sure I have it right.
Yeah,
Joe, maybe we could.
Yeah, we could take a trip. We could take a trip.
What do you got on feet?
I'm doing the Alma Manier Air Max 95s. You
that
guys
you've
know.
been doing.
Air Max 90 fried?
I don't know yet. Welty said no. Does it look?
No, those shoes actually, you know,
hold up.
A leather 95.
Yeah, I was worried.
No, I'm saying shouldn't. Not that shoe has aged because you've only had them for a short period of time, but you've worn
God forbid a shoe ages in a month.
I've worn
I know,
them.
but you've worn the amount of time that you've worn them that a shoe like that with leather usually may not be looking great.
So I've worn them. I didn't wear them this weekend, but before that, I've
wore them 3 days in a row in the office.
In the last.
Is that a crime?
No, it's fine. It's just
in the last 10 days or so, I've probably worn them 7 out of the 10 days. Love these. These make me feel not from like a aesthetic and like this is how I felt about the Blackpink Cortezes. Where
really,
I was
those are way better than the Alma Manier ones.
I'm not saying I think the Cortezes are better.
Yeah,
but in terms of like, I brought these on vacation this weekend. I didn't wear them. I didn't end up wearing them. But like, you could dress them up. You could dress them down. This like so super versatile. Let's just call a spade a spade. Aria's been wearing them all week. She
stamped it early?
Getting fits off.
Consecutive?
Oh my God.
There's been a lot of hate on those though. There's been a lot of hate on those.
Well
I think
also I fried
the pictures.
Yeah, I fried
okay. What happened?
Okay. Another thing, we haven't been on in a minute. You guys know that.
Important catch up.
Okay.
Address
my IG story. My IG story picture of these look great. My
Alma Manier Air Max 95s.
My ex Twitter picture got fried to hell.
Well, I made a video.
Fried to hell. We'll put it in here. And listen, I may never do that again.
You thought you were doing something.
Well, I took the video in the office, right? When you were wearing them.
Yeah.
And then, was that the one you're talking about? Where
no.
Or people were like, why are you wearing the carpenter jeans?
Yeah, I don't care about that. Yeah, I know that you respond. Don't worry about my jeans. Don't listen, everyone. Don't worry about my jeans.
Don't worry about what's in the jeans.
Yeah, don't. It's a Uniqlo white tee and Carhartt whipped jeans.
Hey,
I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Joe,
come on.
I'm with the program because I got the Uniqlo white tee on right now. And what does this look like? Custom Carhartt.
Come on, that's the thing. I know sometimes you respond about your jeans.
Joe said,
I'm not responding.
When I post on X, I don't need any feedback.
Yeah, listen,
you were a little bit disgruntled.
No, I wasn't disgruntled. I felt bad for Alma Manier, the staff, the company, the CEO.
Them, you made them look bad.
I got
a personal apology to James Whitman.
The photo, I think, fried the photo, and then someone else.
People were calling them boneless Air Max 95s.
Yeah, I didn't do my best on the Twitter photo, but in person, I'm telling you, I love them. I love them. I don't know. I love them. He loves them.
I like them. I'm not going to say I love them, and also I don't understand, and maybe there's Alma Manier social status fatigue right now, and I get that, and they do a lot of Nike projects, and the trust is still maybe a question for people. I like the shoe just fine, but I was surprised the first good photo of them I reposted a gentleman on X. I can't remember his handle now. I just hit the repost button, and there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, these aren't it."
I have a question for you guys.
Please.
I've been looking down at these for 10 days or whatever. What does these two remind you of though?
What's happening? You're like blocking off some of the media.
These two.
Cool gray?
No.
What do we?
Those
two colors together?
Yeah.
Stussy Dunk?
No.
I don't know.
It reminds me of the Bacons a little bit. The Bacons.
Oh.
Man, Bacon Air Max 90s. That's a shoe that I have sitting at home.
I need to wear it.
That I can't wait to bring out.
The thing I like about the shoe, I didn't even notice it, the detail is that the tongue tag, how it's the Air Max 95 logo, but it says I'm a Minier.
Yeah.
Also, I like to,
Special
this is such a subtle thing, and I'm assuming you didn't do this on purpose, but this is, no.
You're not giving him any credit?
No.
My tongue fucked.
Is that once you said, rest in peace, DJ Clark Kent, but he always wore one shoe unlaced and the other one tied on purpose.
Really? Is that a very Clark thing?
I do that a lot.
That.
I do that a lot. I didn't notice that, but if anything, to homage my guy. So
hey, nothing happens by coincidence.
Absolutely.
Welty, what do you have on feet?
Shout out our good friend Alex Diamond.
Absolutely.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
Abris Achber.
Yes, whatever you just said in Armenian. Actually,
congrats, bro.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm not necessarily co-signing everything you say in a foreign language. I don't understand.
No, I was just saying congrats. These are the technically Nordstrom Saucony.
You don't know the model day.
It's on the side. Triumph 22. Triumph 22.
Okay.
Sorry.
My guy came. Look at the Canadian. My guy.
Hey.
Came dressed half Smokey the Bear, half Dale Earnhardt
looking
Jr.
like yeed your last haul.
Look at
we said we were going to do cowboy boots, and then
you're close. You're close. You're about to be.
The cowboy boots may be on the way.
Big up Alex Diamond, though.
Yes.
No, these are great.
Go back and listen to his podcast episode of this if you have.
These are great. Wasn't expecting these coming.
Yeah.
That he, not that I don't think he's going to get secret collaborations, but didn't know he was cooking something up with Saucony. Nice little unexpected cool shoe drop this year. I like them a lot. And I will go on the record saying, for the most part, I'm not the biggest fan of exotic materials, but these look great. But I also do love.
They look great on the ranch.
The Atmos 95s.
I need to see you like out in Montana, Big Sky country.
My boy never had a mink on his back.
I like these though.
Couldn't be me.
And for people who don't know the connection, Alex Diamond is married to Olivia Kim, who's super duper design exec at Nordstrom. So he ends up working on a lot of the footwear projects over there. Has touched a lot of that stuff. Also, shout out to Alex. His brother's art is on display now in the city. You can go see that. I was there at the opening.
I saw you.
Rest in peace to Ara Diamond.
Yes.
Welty, you got the serious running shoes on. Are you about to hop on a half marathon to start out?
It looks like a marathon runner, but only
I don't think you can. People were like, "Oh, you're going to work out in these." And I'm like, I really don't think you can. I mean, the sole's there, like you could go running.
I thought they were about to turn you into a runner. I was
excited. the upper doesn't breathe as well on these. Cool sneaker moment I saw on the internet that we're talking about things from the past. A quick little flashback. Another friend of the program, Fab, posted on Instagram wearing the Riccardo Tisci black Air Force One lows.
That was a moment.
Yeah, but that just, I don't know. It was one of those cool things that you weren't expecting it. And it just like, I don't know. I love seeing that all the time.
Brought you back.
Yeah. Fab has a lot of those in the stash. Yeah, that was like a couple days ago.
Don't you have a pair of those?
Yeah.
Joe, that was a big JLP shoe for sure. Various versions, not the knee-high one.
Yeah,
or did you do the knee-high one?
No, I didn't.
I think you did the high tops though.
If you can find us a photo of Joe La Puma in the knee-high Riccardo Tisci Air Force Ones, I'll pay a lot of money.
To be honestly, I feel like I had all of them, but never wore
any of them.
Yeah,
you never wore them at all.
I just put them away. I wanted all of them, but I don't think I've actually worn
Riccardo Tisci Air Force Ones.
No,
that's a shoe that would like crush on sneaker shopping for you too. If you just like randomly popped out in the black Tisci Air Force Ones.
It's funny you say that because I have a shoot tonight and I was getting ready I had to bring out something for like a prop and I went through my closet. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of bullshit in there.
We got to be honest with ourselves.
Let me tell the audience something and my friends.
Clear the air.
I bought a lot of bullshit in the past.
What was the most?
I'm not going to name names, but guys,
number one offender.
What did you see in there that made you really question your purchasing decision?
A lot, to be honest, a lot of dunks that
you didn't need.
And the Wu-Tang dunk we talked about, like I have no desire. I know the Wu-Tang dunk is like a grail. I thought the marketing was. I have no desire to wear a dunk. I wore the Futura dunks.
You saying that? Let me just say this. That's going. Beaverton bean counters, that's a freebie. That's going in a deck somewhere. Someone
I have
just
no desire to wear a dunk.
That exact quote, and I just helped y'all out like I often do in Beaverton.
Wait,
just put that on the slide in the deck when you're presenting the plan for next year. Joe La Puma said,
"Hold on, that could go one of two ways.
Okay.
Because does that either mean Joe saying I have no desire to wear a dunk? Is that gonna inspire people to think outside of the box and move outside of the dunk?
Counterpoint.
Or
Counterpoint.
Or do you think that Joe saying I have no desire to wear a dunk is going to make someone prove Joe wrong?
No. I'm saying
okay.
Keep shifting away from that shoe.
And obviously I know they're dunks are dunks and still widely popular, but I just bought so many.
Yeah.
And I was going through and I'm like, oh man, like random ones.
Pandemic era. That was a fun time.
One that was random. I'm not, and I've worn them and I was so excited. What was the denim Nike SB dunk that had weird lines in it?
The Sashiko dunk, right? The denim dunk. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Would you that shoe fine?
I liked it when I got it. I wouldn't wear that anymore.
Did you end up wearing it at any point? But
yeah. But I feel like it just like when I say that, I'm not singling that. I just remember being so excited about it, and then that may sit in my closet for a long time now.
And it's funny because you are not a guy to get rid of shoes. For me, if something's sitting in my closet for a while, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah,
I'm going to get rid of it. But you hold on to those relics.
I have to go through and like, it's from the soul I've done, but like I have to go through. And then the other thing I would say, I saw a lot of Solomon and New Balance that are cook crack in there. Yeah,
you're standing by them.
Well, there's a lot of things too that you forget that you had it.
Yeah,
things get lost in the boxes sometimes, unless you have. And you know what? The more the years go on, the more I tip my hat and salute the people who actually go through with like the drop front.
It could never be me.
I would never do it. But
did you hop on the drop front thing or something?
No, but I just salute those people because when they wake up every morning, they could just look at their shoe collection for the most part and be like, hey, I want to like.
I know exactly what I have.
Yes.
Yeah. Two things I want to mention about Tishi. Joe, I'm right there with you. I owned the Vachetta tan pair. That was that whole Vachetta leather.
People got those off.
I never wore them. And I also had one of the white pairs, never wore them. Sold them both at Flight Club. Happy to have profited off that shoe.
I'll be there later tonight. I'll look for them.
And then
he'll rescue them.
The other thing I'll say is that, remember, Tishi and Nike are getting back together, which I don't know who was asking for that, but there's some shocks coming later on this year. One other shocks moment. Remember the Martine Rose shocks from a few years back? I got to correct myself. We posted a quick news break on the site about Martine Rose having an Air Max Craze collab coming up. That was in fact wrong. We regret the error. I'm looking forward to the Air Max Craze Retro. I think that'll be fun, but I think that the shoe she's doing is an Air Classic BW, not a Craze. So,
which to me is way cooler too.
I'm into it.
I love the BWs. I ended up buying a few pair of those in 2009. I think they had some like pebble.
Do you have
print.
Persian Violet BWs, the OG?
I don't have that one.
That's the BW you need.
I know, but I had a handful of them.
No, but
I loved it.
I mean, Stash BW is the one.
I was not a BW guy, but a lot of OG finish line people with taste were. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That because a lot of BWs came through those doors, and like that was one of my guys from Staten Island, Bob Parisi. Shouts to Bob Parisi. He loved the classic BW.
By the way, speaking of OGs with taste, he wanted me to mention Nick Schoenberger says hi.
Let me see Nick this week.
Really?
Yep. Got a busy week.
Okay.
Your boy got a busy week.
Okay. Can we go back to Staten Island for a second? Because I want to talk marathon footwear.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for it.
Just a quick scene report. What people were wearing. This
felt like the most, because I know running is at its absolute peak right now when it comes to either participation in the sport and just the whole fashionification of the sport.
Yeah.
So this New York City Marathon on that level felt like the biggest I've seen ever.
Yeah. It was an interesting scene, I will say, and this is just anecdotal, me just like looking around and being a sneaker person and always paying attention to what's on people's feet. Didn't see very many Adidas at all, except for the $500 Adidas Adizero Pro Evo 1.
Is that the one Pusha and curtains?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I saw a few pairs of those. I saw a lot of Saucony. I have these names written down because I don't know all the models off the top of my head. No real Hokas. Not a lot of Hokas, which was a little bit surprising to me.
I feel like Hokas is much more of like everyday runner brand.
You're right.
Than like super. They do make some plated shoes, but I feel like they're not really known for like the super shoe.
Yeah, it did strike me as a little off, but maybe you're right. Speaking of off, I did see a few ons, not many. Some people had the robot printed pair that they make in 3 minutes. Cool looking shoe. Yeah, Saucony, lots of endorphins, couple of the minted pairs, wealthy from your boy Marcus Milione. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I was wearing the New Balance Fuel Cell Super Comp Elite 4 trained heavily in the baklava.
How'd they feel?
They felt great, and I'm not just saying this because Action Bronson through New Balance helped me get a bib for the New York City Marathon. Thank you, Team Baklava, till I die. But I've worn a lot of Alpha Flies and Vapor Flies in the past, the early versions of those shoes, Nike's Super Shoes, the plated ones, and they've been so aggressive that they do kind of really make you feel it afterwards. And those early Vapor Flies and Alpha Flies are so snappy and tight in a way that I believe they do help with performance, and I believe in that sports science behind it, but they didn't always feel good afterwards. This New Balance shoe I had on, this was the official race shoe. It was just so much more cushy and so much more forgiving. And yeah, I mean, I didn't feel them at all during the race, which I think is the best thing you can say about a performance shoe, is it just doesn't feel like it's there that much. So definitely saw a lot of New Balances out there.
Speaking of running shoes, one of the cooler things I saw in sneakers recently was Jound did a collaboration with ASICS on the 2160. People rightfully talk crap about the all black pair, which they should.
You don't like that pair?
They're boring and uninspired. There just has a Jound logo on a pair of all black ASICS.
But isn't that like you could say the same thing about every Jound shoe, right?
At least I feel like they do just enough to differentiate it. This shoe has
just enough.
Has nothing on it, right? With that said, the white pair with the lime green looks really cool.
I like those.
What I'm saying is that I thought the cool part is that in today's day and age, it's very hard to keep something under wraps when it comes to a sneaker or sneaker release.
Especially with this guy.
Yep. And
less so with ASICS, though. People aren't leaking ASICS like that.
No, but ASICS have become popular, and Jound is a huge collaborator. So, you know, and they dropped the first two pairs online, and after they sold out, they dropped the third colorway, which is black with the white toe, which is way better than the all black pair.
Do you like that one better than the white one with the yellow hits?
Maybe not, but I could really picture Joe in the black with the white toe.
Yeah, you styling him for ComplexCon?
This is what just happened here. Let's do the little, I don't know if we could do the little rewind. Basically calls it the most boring shoe.
No, okay? I didn't call that. I'm not talking about that one.
Oh, okay. Other one. Hand up. Drewski meme. Okay,
no, I'm not
sorry.
The secret colorway.
The secret colorway.
Oh, okay. Here's what I would say. I've been wearing a blackish blue ASIC.
Yeah.
And there's only one that I've been wearing. And there's only one that I'm going to be wearing for a little. The Venom one.
Yeah, you've been doing those a lot too.
And
Venom himself.
Tom Hardy on this week's episode.
Really good episode.
Sneaker Show. Appreciate it.
Yes, loved it.
The quote, anything Tommy touches, Tommy takes. That's the law. Quotable. But I do like those Jounds.
Yeah.
Are they available or are they sold out?
I believe they sold out.
You might have to go to StockX.
But I was just surprised that they were able to do a shock drop on a third colorway that no one had seen, and just, wow, boom.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
Joe, do you know about this? We spoke about this one about a month ago, or whenever the last podcast episode was. We're going to be more consistent next year. Anyways, the concepts, ASICS Kayano 14, the cannoli cream pair. Welty said he likes it quite a bit. Are you into these? There's a little bit white for you, but cannoli cream.
Too white, but I like the visuals.
Italian theme to it.
I'm not a big cannoli guy.
Really?
There's some breaking news. Yeah. There's some breaking. I like.
You like hitting the cannoli king when you hit Nolita?
No, not that big of a cannoli guy.
You went for the gun instead of the cannoli? You're supposed to leave the gun, take the cannoli, but sounds like now we know what you had in the jeans. But let me ask you this, because
you might get a call from Premium Pete.
That's all right. No, cannoli's a little too sweet for me.
Yeah. Is this cultural appropriation? They got a lot of mix on staff up at Concepts. I don't know if they actually have any Italian people making shoes.
I think Concepts.
They're allowed?
I've come with the family.
Drop it in the north end.
I give the Concept staff the double cheek kiss every time I see it. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Let me ask you this. Are we approaching peak ASICS, Y2K, Kayano, etc. saturation? And are we going away from it soon?
I don't know about saturation. Not breaking news to anyone. They are everywhere.
But are they going to become uncool soon enough?
I think even since we've talked. No, I think even since we've talked about it, and we've talked about it a lot, the mesh boom. I think every week.
You see more?
You see more.
Well,
yes.
Here's the thing.
I think it's growing every single day.
And I want the data.
And I've thought about this.
Yeah.
People talk a lot about new shoes becoming popular, people buying up on them, and then people regretting them in like 5 years.
Almost exactly what Joe just described with the Dunks.
Right? And maybe the Dunks are I'm not saying a bad example from your behalf, but maybe it disproves what I'm about to say. I typically think that the regret happens when it's like new models that brands tried to make cool, that shoes that aren't like, if it's a straight up retro,
yes,
a la the New Balance stuff, like you get a 990 New Balance, even if they may be less popular than they were 4 years ago, I feel like you're not really going to regret it because it's like a tried and true.
Yeah, or a Dunk where it's been back and forth over the years.
I feel like these shoes maybe weren't as popular when they came out, but they're still grounded in something where these shoes were originally built for performance. So they're going to hold up, not physically, I mean like style-wise.
Design-wise.
Maybe a little bit better than when all of a sudden everyone just hopped on NMDs, right? And I know that that's maybe like a stretch to compare NMDs to 1130s, but it's just saying you're buying into something new and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, these aren't it. I feel like these shoes have a little more staying power than like those random.
It's funny you say that. NMDs just feels like a lifetime ago.
Oh yeah.
NMDs feels like a lifetime ago.
I guess
it is, but it really does.
Is there any world in which the Kayanos, the ASICS of today become the NMDs of yesteryear?
I don't think so, because the Kayano is a proven amazing shoe, which the NMD was, but the Kayano is just in a different subset right now. The Kayano, it's a broken record. Like the best runners in Long Island, no disrespect to your marathon, the best runners in Long Island, like you looked outside the bag when they had their track spikes on, even if the track spikes
Kayano
were
was
Nike,
like, it was a peak.
Yeah.
Kayano was the best people in Suffolk County.
I love this visual outside the bag.
Outside the bag, you mean like
they had all their gear sitting on the track and that was the shoe
you know, I was okay. I was maybe wearing the Adidas Falcon, not the most.
Yeah,
maybe that's why the training was a little. But the best runners in New York State back in the day, you looked, you peeked. I was very observant. It was like Chris Paul court vision, very observant looking. And when they switched into their track spikes, stage left is they had the gel Kayanos right next to it. And I think that DNA of a amazing shoe becoming stylish, I think it has more legs than just a brand new shoe that bursts onto the scene.
Style.
Totally.
Like I feel like
totally.
I feel like the other shoe that has been pushed recently is like that Adidas or Aruku, sorry. But I feel like that's much more in the NMD
1000%
vein, where in like 4 years people are going to be like, oh, these things, versus you buying into a ASICS Kayano or 1130 2160. I feel like you're not really going to regret having those shoes in your closet.
I like to hear this, and it brings me so much joy because it helps me think that maybe sneakers do still become legendary is kind of a cliche word, but classic through having some foundation in sport or some foundation.
And I feel like that's why the
function.
That's why, and we've talked about this shoe a million times on the podcast, but like why the Element React never really like broke through, because it was a shoe that React.
You look like you took that personal, Joe.
Bunch of those in the closet.
No, but React was the one.
React cushioning was a thing for Nike for a little bit, but it really wasn't the greatest, right? And the shoe wasn't really built for function. It was just kind of a shoe built for a shoe. And I feel like we talked about that. It's like when a lot of people come in and they're like, we need to get like hot designers to cook, but when they're not designing function first, they're just designing like random aesthetics. It doesn't really hold up like as like the years go on, as well as
we still need sneakers to be rooted in sport, to be rooted in function for them to become classic.
All the coolest shoes for the most part were once built for sports.
I'm trying to think. It's going to be really hard to just like,
I'm sure people will say like a Yeezy, etc. But
Yeezy's probably the best example.
But I mean,
exception.
Look with the Shaq shoe, you know, that was a shoe built for sports, right? And it looks crazy, but it still looks cool 30 plus years later. So I don't know.
Here's a special announcement. ComplexCon panel. I will be joined by my two co-hosts on the Sneaker of the Year panel. Matt Welty and Brendan Dunne will be on that stage in Vegas with me.
Wow.
Okay, so
never thought you'd ask.
And this is great because it satisfies two things. One, for me, I don't have to take all the shots up there alone. Two, for them, I don't have to point in the crowd and
we
throw
don't have
them,
to get heckled.
throw them under the bus. Literally
we'll have a microphone to defend ourselves.
Sometimes I take the heat.
Yeah.
Other times I'm literally the meme of the little kid on the stand pointing to them, snitching. So now we also have 2 guests. You know, a lot of people saying we hope there's real sneakerheads this year. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We
got
can't.
you covered.
I mean, I feel
So
we should say who we have. Well, we can't announce. 2 sneakerheads, though, right?
Yes. It'll be an electric panel.
Yes,
we promise you that.
And of course, we're gonna homage our guy, DJ Clark Kent, who would have been joining us,
a staple, a mainstay of that conversation.
But yeah, are you guys excited?
Yes, and I look forward to vindicating myself from last year when everyone got upset for us putting the ALD 860 V2, which in the hindsight, much more influential shoe than maybe a Harry
He already bringing up old shit. He gonna
like a plunger.
Do you
do
you think we can take the heat, Joe?
Yeah,
Of course.
of course.
Okay.
You've been marathon training.
I feel like we've been in spicier situations in the past.
You've been marathon training. He's still doing deadlifts. Me, I'll just.
Are you wealthy? I feel like I haven't seen a 5 a.m. IG story lately. You sweating it out at a bunch of.
The real measure of a workout fanatic is what they do when the cameras aren't on. And you could just put that. Someone make a quote card. I just made it up.
Yeah.
You could put that
you
on.
think that's going on a deck in Beaverton as well?
Exactly. And one of our fans, just please put that on a quote card about fitness, because yes, he hasn't been doing his IG, but still looks.
Putting it in.
Yeah.
I know that this has been a long time since we recorded our last podcast, but a few weeks back had a little brush with greatness in the pits of Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, he's got the hat on.
Came this close from
he felt MJ's aura.
Yeah,
he felt
technically not a side quest because he was there with Michael Jordan.
MJ's aura.
How was that, Wealthy?
And he was just like this from afar.
Well, we were like this close. Yeah, we were really close.
You saw Michael Jordan in person.
Yeah, it's just nuts. That like what you said though, the aura, that is real. And it's not just because I'm building it up in my own mind of, this is my
different aura.
Yeah.
You can feel it. It's like palpable, you know?
Yeah. I remember when my
heart was beating like.
Was there any? Okay, you want to be respectful, and it's Michael Jordan, and everyone wants to talk to him, and you don't necessarily have like time to chat with them. They didn't say, "Yeah, you could talk to Michael." Was there any part of you, big gumshoe journalist, where you just wanted to try and ask him a question real quick, or would you look too crazy,
I felt, and not just because of that situation,
sorry, singular,
but
for you.
Yeah.
I mean, he was also there with his wife, so I didn't want to.
All we need is you looking like the park ranger, tapping him in on the shoulder.
Especially after I ruined the Marcus Jordan relationship for us. Like
when I met him the first time, and I told people it was like it's like meeting a Beatle.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like the reaction you get from it, people are just like, "Holy crap, are you serious?" Like I'm like, "Hey, I just was there."
That's one for the group chat for sure.
Yeah. Can we take it back to ComplexCon for a second?
Yeah.
There's a lot of sneaker stuff happening at ComplexCon. Some of it we've announced already. Some of it we can't speak on just yet. And sometimes we get the details last minute and we get excited. But Welty, what ComplexCon sneaker stuff has been announced so far? I know
J-Tips and Saucony.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's gonna be
2 booths he has.
You know what? At first, people had like a question mark on that Matrix model that he has coming up. That's the next one. Brendan, you would appreciate that shoe because talk about pop culture reference, or maybe this is much more of a Joe thing.
Who wore these?
Ben Stiller wore that shoe in Zoolander.
Very nice.
We need that.
Very
we need
nice.
Ben Stiller too.
The OG one, which is, to me, that's super cool. It's not like you have me sold on it, but like seeing that is like, that's for cool.
Sure.
It is cool, but, and I don't want to interrupt or get on a tangent here, but sometimes I love those types of accounts. What's our favorite account who posts trainer spotting, who always posts those? That stuff is always cool to me, but also I have to be a little bit cynical about it and be like, it's not that interesting that somebody would be wearing a shoe that came out that year in that given year. Like, it doesn't mean anything to Ben Stiller probably that he went into a Foot Locker that year and saw the Saucony
for sure.
Like,
but
sometimes it's just not that special.
But just as a reference point, you're like, oh, it's cool to dig up.
There'd be a whole section on sneaker shopping on that. You know that if you had him.
But so that shoe, I feel like, has grown on me a little bit because I feel like maybe we're not transitioning away from the mesh runner thing, but everyone's maybe expecting just another mesh runner from J Tips, and this model's a little different, even though it's in the Y2K vein. I believe the shoe came out in the year 2000.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, those are cool. And also there's a hidden ASICS, which is still
releasing at ComplexCon,
which is still hidden because they haven't revealed.
Did you see it?
No, they haven't revealed the shoe.
Do you remember how big the gallery department ASICS launch was at ComplexCon last year? That was low key the biggest
and ahead of its time.
Yes. Yeah.
And those shoes are super expensive because when we were in the Philippines and we went to Riff in Manila, I wanted to get a pair of those and then saw the price and was like, this is not happening.
Settle for the Supreme Burberry box logo to instead. We need to see you in that.
Might break it out at ComplexCon.
That's
we need to see you in that. What else is happening? There's some big Nike stuff happening at ComplexCon. We can't say too many details on that just yet. There's a custom Adidas cowboy boot style sneaker, Espelon Tequila, custom made.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we could see Welty in those on his Yeehaw.
Yeah, might
go out to Red Rocks.
There's the bottle right there,
man.
Yep. Yeah, custom sneakers always popping up at ComplexCon, so that should be
might hit the honky tonk in those.
Yeah, Well, we promise you will not be let down. That's not a high enough bar to set. We promise you will be more than pleased with the sneaker stuff happening at ComplexCon.
Get your tickets. It's going to be crazy. Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Travis Scott's going to be there.
Yes.
Travis Scott is going to be there.
In a big way.
He also was wearing his next Nike collaboration.
I missed that.
I don't know if it's his...
Is that the Sharkadon shoe?
The Sharkadon shoe. A blue pair of those.
I don't know what I'm going to wear. I got to think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys going to break out something crazy or no? I don't know if I'm going to go too crazy.
For the sneakers?
Yeah.
You gotta. You can't just show up to
I've kind of always been in that vein, but I'm extra excited this year and maybe the year before too, where it's like, hey, mesh runners are super popular.
This is your time. You feel like
but it's front and center.
but they're the most functional for being at ComplexCon, so you can pick something out where you're not going to wear something that's going to kill you. It's not like you're going to be wearing, well, you might be, but it's not like you're going to be wearing Nike Air Bacons for 12 hours.
Or remember when I wore the Vaporfly Elites?
Yes.
Speaking of marathon shoes.
Yeah.
Just the craziest unnecessary sneaker wear I've ever made. But hey, it's a super rare shoe and nobody else had them on the floor that day. And that's a hard feat to achieve. Do you think about that? Stepping out of ComplexCon? No. With the shoe that nobody else has on feet?
No, but I usually try to go a little special for ComplexCon.
Okay. I feel like the biggest flex was the year that I alley-ooped you on the Canaries, and then Joe just threw them on and friggin' ripped across the ComplexCon floor in a pair of Canary dunks.
Straight to feet.
Powerful feeling.
Straight to feet.
Sunglasses on, head down, iced coffee.
Yeah, always.
You signing autographs?
Yeah, probably a few. Probably a baker's dozen.
A bacon's dozen?
Got to be more news.
I want to talk about briefly, maybe y'all aren't as excited as I am, and maybe people are fatigued on this a little bit, but Wales Bonner Adidas keeps hitting for me. Those latest Sambas with the
I feel like those are better than...
She keeps getting better, right?
Not that the last ones were bad.
Yeah.
But these are, I think, better than the most like recent ones that I've seen. And you see them so... maybe it's a New York City bias, but maybe it's not, because when I was overseas... I saw those shoes being
when you were in Indonesia, when you were in the Philippines. Yeah,
I think in Indonesia, I just went into like the Carhartt store and there was a girl wearing those. So not that I'm like surprised by it, but just seeing how global those shoes
are super hard. The navy pair with the croc embossing. There's also some superstars. I don't really feel the need to put a superstar on my feet.
Tough one for me. I couldn't wear a superstar.
Yeah, have I ever seen Joe La Puma in a superstar?
No. Maybe
for that custom campaign we did a while back.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that was the one moment. Although the Sambas are $300 and that's like a lot to ask somebody to pay for an Adidas Samba.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What else? Maybe I'm a hater. Let me know if I'm a hater, but the Central C Nike stuff did not do anything for me.
I wonder if it's going to get a U.S. release. It feels like
I don't think so.
No, it kind of just came and went.
I think it was a kind of a project that was developed in Nike EMEA in Europe very much. Yeah.
I'm interested. One day I want to speak to Central C Sneakers. I feel like he does know sneakers. Like
for sure.
I want to talk to him about it. But yeah, it seems like,
that's why I was a little bit let down by it, because his connection to that type of gear, the Nike tech especially, is so authentic. There are TikToks of people chronicling exactly which tech fleece Central C wears. So it's such a cool organic thing that makes sense. And then the product is just and like the Air Max 95s that they came out with,
felt a little rushed maybe.
I don't know if it was rushed. I don't know if it was a Nike gel thing, an express lane thing, but it was just like, I at first when I saw the Central C 95s, and again, tell me if I'm a hater, I was thinking like, these look like just a JD Sports colorway, but JD Sports colorways are better than those.
Well, I would say that's not even hate, because JD Sports has good colorways, but I see what you're saying.
Of course, yeah. Another Air Max shoe that I'm sure Nike's going to try to push as a big one this upcoming year, and people are going to call me a hater for this like they did last year, but
you were hating on the DN.
Of course.
You're still hating on it, because I feel like those age pretty good.
There's DNs.
Some okay ones, but it really isn't the shoe that Nike was billing it as, where it was, this is like the future that's going to be like Nike's going to save Nike or whatever. I still don't see that, and I still think that they're misguided in their efforts.
Fair enough.
But either way, the next iteration of the DN, the DN8 is out. Not out, but pictures of the shoe have been, I don't want to say maybe officially unveiled, but they're more than just like a leaked crappy potato phone photo. Do we like this one at least?
That was the white one, right?
Yeah.
I can't judge.
I think,
instantly off rip.
I think I
can't judge, because those Olympic Navy DNs I do like.
I think I still like the DN better than the DN8, and maybe that's just a factor of us having way more info on the DN, and the DN's been in the market, and we've been able to enjoy some different colorways. I haven't bought any. I don't have any. And we just have a lot more on the shoe. It's tough to judge a shoe that won't be out for another 5 months. I think it's the Air Max Day. The DN8 is the big Air Max Day shoe for next year.
Isn't that kind of just to you, though?
I know what you mean. But I also think it's a shoe we could have seen coming when you see them do the tubular air, or I don't know exactly what they're calling it. I can't remember, the dynamic air, on the DN. And it's like half of the shoe has a dynamic air. Of course, they're going to make a sequel to it that has twice as much, and they do the full length of the shoe. It doesn't really help the model look futuristic, particularly because it feels so indebted to tubular air Max circa 2001. But there is going to be, as you can imagine, a big push for the DN8. There's some big collabs coming on the sneaker, and there's definitely going to be energy around it, whether you or I like it or not.
Oh, yeah. Well, you think they're going to stop the energy because you don't like it? What's the LeBron gift?
Elliot Hill's going to pull back.
Yeah, Elliot Hill's here. Be careful. Be careful.
Hopefully,
big Texas,
real
cowboy.
Hopefully, he moves Nike in a different direction.
Oh, okay.
I feel like, this is left over from John Donne.
You're blaming Donnie Blaze for this one.
Donnie Blaze. I feel like this is like the last of or maybe not the last, but kind of the tail end of his.
Okay.
Speaking of LeBron though, Saquon.
Oh, LeBron cleats. Did you see the backwards hurdle?
How much does that pain you, Joe?
Well, the Giants are in a rough spot.
Saquon Barkley.
And then an hour later, you have Saquon reverse hurdling a defender in
LeBron
fours.
Hurt your heart?
Haven't I been through enough? Tough one. But yeah, that was a moment.
And LeBron said, "What? Got to be the shoes."
Yeah.
I like the LeBron cleat takeover. I think there's a lot of. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a big cleat guy, but I think there's some interesting stuff happening in the world of cleated footwear. Mm-hmm. All the Dion stuff has been fun, even though I'm not going to ever sit here and pretend like I'm a Colorado guy.
Yes,
the Oregon Ducks are undefeated.
Also heard too that the
country,
the Diamond Turfs, the Diamond Turfs are coming back. I think I saw that online.
Okay, they all that stuff. Just Elliot Hill. Since you're listening, just green light. Just press the button.
Yeah, I saw there was like talks online that the Diamond Turf's going to come back in its original mold. So I feel like people have been asking for that shoe much much more than the DT Max 96 that came out this year. The Diamond Turf always kind of feels like the one.
Although DT Max 96 still a great shoe, and I might even say a classic shoe.
But you can say that it's not going to end up on our sneakers of the year list.
Is our sneaker of the year list, is the number one spot still going to be the same that we think?
I am so conflicted about this. No, I don't want to dig into it too much.
No, but I'm wondering. I don't want to. Every day that goes on, I'm thinking.
All I'm saying is that I don't want to dig into it too much right now. But it hasn't been like a bad year in sneakers. But I'm thinking since our original like mid-year list came out.
Off.
There really hasn't been anything else. Well, I'm sure there has.
Black Cement 3's coming.
Where we're like, this is definite. But it also felt like half the stuff that we had on the first half of the year is just like,
Should we cancel the panel?
No, we can't.
No, I need to show.
Panel's gonna be fire.
We've talked about it a million times, but I'm like, man, the bread reimagined even to me just didn't.
You have a personal vendetta.
I don't. I really
be careful.
Tom Hardy. No, I don't have a personal vendetta against that.
Put you in a rear naked choke.
It's just kind of been like
Bronson style, not Bam Bam, but the actual Bronson, real naked, choking you out. You saw the movie, right?
Sorry, which one?
Bronson.
No,
go on.
It's going to be interesting to see where the list. We got to get the other panelists list too. I'm interested to see. I feel like we're in a good zone. You know, friend of mine I was with this weekend had the pink Sunders on, a lot of compliments. I like to see that. I like the,
I might bring the Sunders out soon.
Pink ones?
I got them by my desk as we speak.
The pink ones, listen, I get a lot of compliments when I'm around the pink Sunders, and they weren't even on me.
I want to mention one other NFL moment, just to bring it back for a sec. Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets hitting the jump man when he caught the ball.
Yes.
And then Devontae Adams pops out there and says, looks like he might be, well, I forget the exact quote, but he should be headed to the jump man posing like that. And then I liked this, that this doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't really indicate anything. It's just him making an awesome catch. But Adidas coming back and saying, quote, he can jump, man, but he's not going anywhere. I just like that move. It's a fun one from Adidas, and it's an aggressive one from Adidas. And I think it reflects the extent to which Adidas feels like they can be on the offense right now, which is refreshing given how much they feel like they're on the defense historically. Just a fun little sneaker banter. It was
fun. I wonder who wrote that though.
Yeah,
he could jump. Who ghost wrote the bars?
There was also another Anthony Edwards commercial.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that one was a little too soon?
You know what? Honestly, I like the work they've been doing over there. I skipped it because the Anthony Edwards Adidas commercial hype at this point, that machine is so in overdrive. I'm not even convinced people still watch the spots that they do. Which one are we talking about?
The Boogeyman one.
I didn't see that one. I like the lie detector test one. That was cool,
one was only a couple weeks ago. Then they did the one where the kids are sitting around the campfire.
I didn't watch it. I don't need to see any more of these ads. I just thought it was everybody's going to go, oh, this is awesome. They killed it. And then all the people who worked on it are going to repost it.
I just thought it was a little too soon. I don't think it was a bad commercial. But even in my mind, I know it's a different era, but I'm like, man, MJ wasn't dropping commercial after, like he'd have a commercial and then you'd let it breathe.
Yeah, but you can't compare.
I get it, but I feel like
even
sometimes
though he may be his biological son.
I don't know. I feel like maybe sometimes the commercials are more impactful when they make a really strong one and just kind of let it breathe a little bit. That's all.
It's possible they're doing too much. I don't disagree with you. That's kind of what I'm saying.
It's just maybe not that they're bad, but it just dilutes it a little bit.
Is it the same kind of concept? Him like kind of not lashing out, but dissing every single one.
There's like a shot. There's like a shot in each one.
Yeah.
The formula's kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
you don't want to NMD
the ROI.
You don't want to NMD the Anthony Edwards stuff because it's so good.
The AE.
Nice. Put that. There's another Joe La Puma quote for the deck.
Yep.
People in Herzog. Welty, how do you pronounce it?
Herzoganawa.
Oh wow.
They can.
Nailed it.
They can use that one if they want. What else do we have to talk about? There's a lot to catch up on, Joe. Anything else?
Cortez Huaraches. You don't like them?
Didn't you leak that shoe?
I did leak that shoe a year ago, and I got blocked on Instagram by Clint from Cortez.
That stings deep. But
I think it's a fine shoe.
What about the apparel, though? I like the apparel, the full like bags.
I didn't pay that much attention to it, honestly.
Personal feeling?
Well, you can't, right?
I can't. I literally am not allowed to see it because I'm blocked. So I'm glad that they're continuing the partnership. I think the Air Max 95s are better. I'm happy to see Nike Air Flight Huarache, different silhouette, something people haven't really.
Air Trainer Huarache.
Excuse me. This, again, I could feign ignorant, or not feign. I can claim ignorance because it's the real thing. Air Trainer Huarache. Cool to see people working on that shoe.
Yes.
Get people wearing different shoes. Always good to me. The extra swoosh up on front. I like that.
It's just going to be interesting to see how that shoe takes off. I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, but a handful of people within the space are like, this is a real, like, if you know, true head shoe, which I feel like is true to some extent, but that shoe also hasn't had life in quite some time. And I just don't know how it's going to be received on a mass level where the expectation for the Cortez stuff is just so high, a la Union, right? Because it's like Union drops
it's one of those tests.
Union drops the Air Jordan 1, and I'm not saying it's easy to make a good Air Jordan 1, but obviously you're going to pull way more people into your pot.
Yes.
Once you drop a hot Air Jordan 1 who may not even really like the ethos of your brand, but they think the ethos of your brand is just based around the most mainstream shoe there is.
The Jordan 1.
Yeah. 95, not as mainstream as the Jordan 1, but it's really not hard to mess up a 95, but you're going to get a lot of traction based off of that shoe.
Look what it did for Joe. They do look a little boneless.
No, and I love,
the tongue is
I love those Cortez 95s.
Oh yeah. I'm
but I just don't know how
that shoe.
The Trainer Huarache is going to follow up.
It's a good test.
The anticipation of that.
Definitely a test, and also a shoe that you don't see every day. So it's going to be interesting to see how people put it together. Like I probably have never worn that shoe.
Do you want a Cortez pair? Will you wear them? Are you into it?
The apparel with the shoe. I don't know if I could do the full thing, but I love the apparel. I may.
To me, it was like the most like sought after one, or the one that always pops into my mind is the Dominican one. That shoe's like totally representative of.
I think that was one of the first ways that Clint teased the sneaker was him popping out in a pair of those.
And those are super cool.
A friend of ours did set him up with.
Yes.
But
super
we'll keep that between me and you for now.
Yes.
One thing I want to mention before we go, and we'd be remiss not to mention it. Maybe we saved the biggest thing for last, but the boy got skills like Chelsea.
Oh.
The trigger meter up like Welty. That
was a good rap
song.
Hold on,
shout out
the Matt Welty bar.
That was a good rap.
Shout out our Implied.
This guy's name's Implied. That's MPLIED.
Yeah.
If ever you want to get love on this show, just mention our name and something, and we got you. It's off his new project, Everything's Fair in Love and War. The song is called Off of It.
Hey,
rapping about Matt Welty.
No,
we're referencing him.
That was awesome too, and I was over the moon that someone would even think of us, like genuinely.
You, not us.
Yeah, right? I didn't have anything to do with it.
Anyways,
I'm waiting on mine.
The things that we've made. Well, someone got a tattoo of you, so
true.
Oh,
but all these years later, that someone actually cares about it. But also, too, at the end of the day, dude can rap.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like someone dropped a random rap recorded on their computer mic that sounded bad. This actually sounded good. So I was like, oh, that's
one of the best parts about the snippet too was like the cleanest bars are like the best part of it. And I'm not just saying this because I know you. Were like the best punchlines were the ones at the end where he got to referencing you. So
shouts to you. We
have his walk-on music for the Complex Sneaker of the Year panel at ComplexCon this year. It needs to be booming out.
Get those tickets. Might be the next time you see us, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
All right. Listen, it was a catch-up episode. Obviously, a lot of topics to get in, and the next time we will all be together in a semi setting like this will be that ComplexCon Sneaker of the Year panel.
I look forward.
Can't wait. All right, everyone. This has been the Complex Sneaker Show. We hope everyone has a great couple weeks. We will see you
at ComplexCon, right?
Yeah.
At ComplexCon.
Yeah.
Get your tickets.
Vegas, baby. Viva Las Vegas.